Alrighty, folks. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Today is April 26, 2022. My name is Boyan Petreski. This is the Futures Now session that we'll be doing today. The disclaimer is running there for your use and your understanding that this is for educational and instructional purposes only. And of course, you understand that these hypothetical results obtained through this demonstration do not indicate in any way that the results may be received when using our products. This is the agenda for today. We're going to look at the current market environment. We're going to execute on new opportunities, and we're going to manage those intraday trades utilizing our trade management rules and specific guidelines. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. This is the platform that we'll be using today. And let's go ahead and load up the climates. Okay, so the beauty of trading such a permission-based system is it gives us the ability to essentially allow ourselves to look at certain items that where our eyes should be attracted to. So as opposed to just opening every single chart out there and potentially getting yourself overwhelmed because there's just so much going on. Instead, we're only going to be opening things that make sense, and no pun intended. But as you see, we're going to be looking for sensible things, preferably near sensible things that are confirmed, either blue or red here, right? Because that's our climate window, that's our climate column. So as long as the column is colored, that means that that climate is confirmed. Now, if it's a red color and near sensible short, that's a much better option to look at. So let's go ahead and do that exactly. So we're going to look at gold and silver right off the bat. And I'm just going to open up the NQ just to have, because again, that is sensible short. Near sensible short as well. So NQ on the 15. We're going to open the gold on the 60 and silver on the 60 as well. And also, just as a side note, you always want to kind of have a window such as this opened up that gives you the front month contract that's being traded on each of those instruments. As we see, the indices are on the June contract. And once this finishes opening, we'll see the metals that they are also on the June contract, whereas actually silver is on the May. So, all right. So silver, as you see, is on the May. That's where the volume is. SIK22. SIK22. Gold. There we go. Now gold is on the June, same as GCM22, and same as the NQ, which is already loaded up on the June contract. Okay, so let's start with the fastest moving one right now. 13,475 is an area that we're going to be looking at. And the reason why I immediately want to jump into this is because we already have a trade set up here. So I'm just going to go ahead and place this trade at 13,465. And then I'm going to explain it as I have it on. All right. Our stop is going to be above the UFO, so 78.75, so 1, 2, 3 ticks above. And we're going to go 3 ticks below. And all right, let's see, what do we got here? I realized I didn't load everything. Okay. Let's go ahead and get this all properly set up here. Give me just 1 second. Okay, so for some reason, okay, so we don't have a target, final target. So I'm going to cancel this, and now I'm going to spend some time explaining. All right, so the first things first that we saw is we do have a confirmed climate. We know that because at the bottom of this window, we do see that we have a red dot, a red confirmed climate. That means the direction of trades that we're looking at is towards the downside. Now, okay, ended up moving that a little bit. So the next step that we have is, where do we enter? Where do we exit? As far as the where we enter, well, we enter right where we entered right now on this trade. I'm just going to take a quick screenshot of it. So we got 2022, 0426. This is NQ setup. We enter by looking at the 9 exponential moving average on this lower chart, on this common time frame chart, as we call them. A 15-minute is a common time frame, right? It can be found on pretty much every platform out there. However, the 610 tick bar, the 987 share bar, and the 2-minute time frames are not common time frames. These are our edge time frames. So what we would like to do is we would like this moving average, this exponential moving average on the common time frame to be enveloped, right? To be enveloped by a UFO. And in this scenario, it was by these two UFOs. So now we have our point of entry. We enter at the bottom excuse me, of the UFO. The reason why we enter at the bottom of the UFO, because that's where the unfilled orders start, and we exit above it. So meaning if this price moves above this UFO, that means this is no longer favorable, and there's a good chance that the UFO will be filled, and those orders have already been filled, and it would disappear. So given that fact and given that aspect, we combine those elements to give us this setup here. Right now, we are looking at only one target because we do not have an opposing large time frame. This common time frame right here, the 15-minute time frame, we do not have an opposing UFO. So an opposing UFO to a red UFO, an entry UFO that is red, would be a green UFO. Well, down below here on this 15-minute time frame, once we maximize it, we saw that we actually don't have anything down below. Now, could we, load some more data? Because this is only looking at 500 bars back. So if we load some more data, could we find something there? Sure. But again, just remember, we're trading intraday. So we are concerned with what's happening right here and now, which is why we're only loading, so much data into our chart, because we're more concerned in the now rather than what has been, because there's a good chance that the market moves that we're trying to capture here in the overall perspective of the market don't play that big of a factor. All right, so we're gonna leave this alone and we're gonna see if we can find something on gold. Okay, gold is a excuse me. Gold is a confirmed down climate. However, it is already trading above its moving average, and as we see, there are no red UFOs in this area right now. So we're gonna skip on that most likely. Okay, now silver is also a little bit above its, and it's just missing this by one tick, it looks like. Yep, well, two ticks. See, this is why it's so interesting. See, this UFO starts at 23,750. However, the moving average is at 23,741. So it is off by two ticks, the UFO where we could potentially enter with where the moving average exponential is from the common time frame. In this scenario, the 60-minute time frame. So unfortunately, this is not going to work out, and there's a good chance that it won't work either way. Okay, we got our T1 on Nasdaq. Nasdaq is pushing lower. Now what we want to see is a new UFO to form so that we can move our stop down. So, and there's a new UFO that we were just talking about. So 66.75. All right, so this is definitely a profitable trade right now. Another UFO has formed here. All right, so this is pushing lower. All right. And we're just going to trail it with UFOs as it keeps going lower and lower. There's a good chance that we're expecting a bounce here because we see that we did bounce off of this area quite substantially. And now we're, pushing down from here, even though not in that kind of fashion. A little bit of a sideways movement there. But essentially, this area right here may still have some orders to be filled. If we break down below, we may be looking to ride this into the open, which is in about 28 minutes. Multiple red UFOs across the board. So this is definitely looking good for us. I'm going to go ahead and close gold. It's already trading above the moving average. No need to distract ourselves to look at it any further. If you want to be a little bit more conservative with, or rather aggressive, not conservative, the opposite of that. If you want to be a little bit more aggressive with your trailing of your stop, you could also do something like this. All right, so if you were to measure the distance between where T1 and T2 were, it was about 13.25, I think. So 13 and a quarter points. If this moves down to here, which almost did, right? Around there somewhere. If price touches this area and no new UFO is formed, you're essentially allowed to take your stop from where it was and move it down one increment. And when I say one increment, I mean the measurement from T1 to entry, or if you want to call it from, T1 to the original entry, from T1 to the original entry here. So that's that increment that I'm talking about. Or if you want to be a little less aggressive, you can just trail it with new UFO. So that way, if you've caught a nice big move, you get to ride it for a little bit longer. Of course, this means, leaving on the table this entire profit essentially if this turns around. Um, as long as you're okay with that, and then that's completely fine. If you're not okay with that, then by all means, back test and acknowledge what you're okay with, and then follow through. Don't just do it just because you're seeing a nice big profit there, and then you don't want to give it up just for the sake of not giving up the profit. Okay, so what else do we have here? Okay, natural gas on the 240-minute time frame. Let's go ahead and open that. Natural gas on the 240. And again, I'm not too worried about looking at the Nasdaq trade anymore, just because now I know it's in the bag, right? It's definitely a profitable trade. Even if it fully reverses, it's only going to stop out for like $15. So, not too worried about it, as I've mentioned. Natural gas, if we go to energies, it is trading on the June contract at NGM22. All right, so natural gas, it's on the fifth 240-minute increment up out of typically 9. So we're not early, not late. We're right in the middle of the party, which is good. All right, let's see what we have here. We may have just missed the boat on natural gas. So the moving average is at 6.925. 6.925 is above this UFO. 6.925 925 is in between here. Okay, so nothing to do there. Very simple, very fast, very quick to say thank you, but no thank you. Okay, gold on the 15-minute now. I believe earlier we were on the 60. Now gold on the 15 is giving us a signal. Let's open that. Okay, 1905.6 is right here. So that one definitely doesn't work. 19056, 1905. Okay, this UFO will definitely work. So 1905.5 is the entry here. 19055. Oof, but the stop is going to be so substantial. It's going to have to go all the way below 1901.876. Okay, so this is it's quite the spread on this one. Me personally, I probably wouldn't take it, even though it makes sense. But unfortunately, the stop being so large, I would have preferred it to be 1903.9 right below this UFO. But as you see, the stop is in the middle of this one and in the middle of that one. What we could do is something that I've been experimenting with lately. Is we could do the following. We could do 1909.6. That's our first leg of entry. And then as long as the climate stays in our favor, and let's say it pushes a little bit lower so it can average our price out, we could go in on the lower of the two UFOs, 4736. I think it's going to be that 36. Yep. So 1903.6. 1903.6. Okay. Now, if this looks a little confusing to you, I don't blame you. I'm going to take the T2s and I'm going to move them away. Just so we know that that's our T2s. All right. Now, our T1, to make this a break-even trade, it's going to be easier once it fills, but it's essentially going to be the difference between the two if both get filled. The stop is also going to go down there as well. Actually, sorry, that's not 1906, so it's 1901.6. Okay, so now we have a two-legged entry into this position. If this pushes lower, we'll get a lower fill. It'll average our price out to around this 1904, 1905, 1904.6 area, perhaps 6, so about 1904.6 or 5, and that can drive our T1 lower, so we can get break even faster. All right, we got about 10 minutes to the start of the session for today. And by session, I mean the US Open. So that's that for those entries there for gold. And let's see, what would our average entry point be? 1905.5 plus 1903.6 divided by 2. So 1904.5 will be our entry. So if both get filled, 1904.5. It's actually 0.55, so I don't know how TradeStation is going to round it up in this scenario. I'm still experimenting with this stuff, but the easiest way to do this is once it gets filled, then you move your T1 to essentially the break-even point of the stops. Okay, looks like Nasdaq is pushing lower. We have a new UFO, 49.25. All right, green UFO actually on the 2 minute. That's interesting to see. Okay, so this is definitely a profitable trade. It's already looking like a pretty nice trade. We got 256 in the bag and another 335, so that's about close to $600 that would make on this one trade, which is awesome. Um, you know, if you can just handle these, you know, what did I do here? I'm sorry. Let's just fix this. The yellow there is a little hard to see. So climate's still working for us. The price movement is working in our way. If you want to avoid the craziness of the open, you could just say, you know what? I'm happy with what's going on right now. I'm just going to close this before the open. That's okay too, right? It's just that you're, as long as you're doing that because you have a rule like that, not just because you're scared of leaving this money on the table. Okay, that's what I'm trying to drive at here. Yes, around the K was at the, what was silver on again? Just see, silver was on the K, yeah. So this one we did say it missed by a little bit. I don't see any new UFO forming there or there, so we're going to go ahead and close this. It's most likely not going to do anything. That's doing its thing. So gold bounced up a little bit. Depending on what happens right in about 2 minutes, 7 minutes from now, we're going to have an update on this climate. So we'll be able to readjust if we need to, if this pushes lower. It's pretty good. And we just have to make sure that the climate stays confirmed. And same with this one, make sure that the climate stays confirmed. If it pushes back up now into this UFO and stops us out, so be it. If it keeps going lower, again, so be it. Our job is just to make sure that we are trading this with a plan rather than with emotions. Okay, so as I said, that other side here that was during the London session is most likely going to give us some sort of reaction. If it doesn't and it just falls through, then we may be looking to ride this into the open as well, to the downside. So we'll see what's going to happen. Is my stop? Yeah, my stop is good. I was just making sure it's at 13,449. It's one tick above the top of that UFO. If we see another big push down here, we may see a new UFO form, allowing us to move the stop even further lower. If it has a big jolt up, that's quite all right too. So gold was baiting us to come a little bit lower, but not quite. Didn't quite make it to our entry. And that's okay. As far as the climates are concerned, everything's kind of looking the same. Hopefuls, we already checked those out. Yep, nothing else to do right now but wait and watch the paint dry, which is okay. That's part of the game. If there's any questions from those of you there joining me live, please feel free to post them. If there's any comments or anything that you'd like to discuss, please feel free to do so. Um, okay. Hmm, that's weird. Okay. Still no new UFOs. Still moving in our direction. That's cool to see. Um, okay. There's that little jolt up. As you saw, it kind of touched down here and just went up higher. So there's a fairly good chance that this will stop out before the open. You can definitely kind of get a sense that there's still some orders down here. But ultimately, we're going to see what it's going to happen. All right. I'll be back with you guys in just a second. And we're back just in time for the open. Um, Unfortunately, it looks like we may have gotten just wicked out right there. But that's okay. Again, this was a very nice trade, profitable trade. It worked in our favor. Everything's good. Um, we followed our plan to the T, and we execute based upon it. I tried to see if we could get in again, but unfortunately, we were just not able to at this point because the moving average was right here in these two UFOs. If for some reason, we get a jolt up, kind of like we're seeing right now, I would not be opposed to taking this again. At looks like this UFO starts at 66.50. So I would definitely not be opposed to taking this again at 66.50. Wait, what? No, at 60.50. What? That's why I'm like, wait a minute now. 60.25 looks like the UFO starting, or 60 even. Where does this start? 59.75. Okay. That's why I'm like, what is happening? So 59.75. All right. The stop would have to go at 78.75. Okay, but again, looks like we definitely missed the boat there. That's okay. You know, I was thinking that there was a new UFO that formed here that was bigger. I was like, maybe I should move it above that one, but that would have been breaking my rules. My rule says I move the stop to the top of the lowest UFO, and that's what I did. But the eyes always play games on us, right? We're all human. Obviously, we missed out on this giant move down, which is okay. Looks like gold is also saying thank you, but no thank you. Realistically speaking, you can take this trade here. As you see, it's at 6.7 is within this UFO. Um, the problem is that as price falls down into it, it's most likely going to either miss it or going to be right at the bottom here. And I don't want to take that trade. And now that the moving average has moved, I'm going to go ahead and cancel that trade. Let's see if we have anything else. RTY is only half an ATR away. So let's load up the Russell. Okay. All right. Looks like the Russell is showing a little bit of strength, actually. 1939.85. That's right in this UFO, even though it's very small. 1939.6 entry point, which is not bad, with a stop of 40.50, but there's multiple overlaps here. So 44, I'm sorry, no, there isn't. All right, this is a very smallerish trade, so I would be taking this 39.6. 39.6. Problem is, I feel like the Russell is just going to wick us out, even if we're right on the direction. Oh, and there it goes. Yeah. Let's, if we were to set this up properly, 41.6 would be the stop. But it looks like it already took a turn without us. Nasdaq still tanking lower. Okay, silver. We already checked that out. There wasn't much there to do. So looks like we don't have a whole lot to do right now in this point in time. All the ATRs are quite, as you see, 1.6 ATR, 2.7, 1.6 across the board here, so pretty far. Crude is a hopeful long. Oh, and here we go. We got a visitor here with us. Give me 1 second. All right, folks, I'm back. Let's see. Well, we're going to have an update to the climate in about 8 minutes from now, and look at that move. um, Gold is finally testing. Oh, and it just filled that UFO. So if you left your order on, you're probably in. Probably a little in the negative right now in the open P&L. Just watching this in case there's a new UFO, in case it bounces and a new UFO forms. If you did take it, that's good for you. You're in the trade. I missed it by just a smidge. Um, yeah, RTY probably not gonna get up there anytime soon. I'm gonna cancel it so it doesn't fill me by mistake. Just watching gold right now, not quite making the colors of UFOs that we're expecting, but here we are. I'm just watching here across the board in case there's something that pops, and I'll probably buy it at market. If it doesn't, then we're gonna wait and see until we can get an update on the climate. All right, Nasdaq looks like it found some sellers there. 448. Okay, above this UFO. So right in between here. Gold, again, not doing much. 1 second. Oof, come on, gold. And there it is. There's the UFO above the moving average. Did not quite make what we wanted. There's the follow-up. It's okay. Just remember something, folks. There's always going to be another opportunity, right? It's never just like this was the one. Yeah, it happened in front of you. But you know how many times it's happened where I pick up a call and something and I missed a trade, and it would have went to a complete stop. Just sometimes that's just how it is. Sometimes you'll miss good trades. Sometimes you'll miss bad trades, and that's quite okay. What I used to do is I would actually document all of them because, I would like to think that I would be able to trade with complete laser focus from essentially 5 a.m. until 8 a.m. in the morning, my time, California time, which Eastern is from 8 a.m. until 11 a.m. Um, However, life can throw you curveballs left and right, and sometimes you have to step out. Sometimes 10, 15, 20, half an hour could be all the profitable trades that you would have taken, and then you come back and you take only the losers. And you're like, what do you do? You just have to, you have to count it as you as best as you can. You have to not let it get to your head that you know that's how it was supposed to be, because then there's times when you do step out and you come back, it's like, wow, I missed three losers in a row. And then guess what? I'm starting with a clean slate from the start instead of being three trades in the negative. So sometimes, like I said, count your blessings, from both sides. Don't just count the winners against yourself and discard the losers. Um, yeah, so just waiting on an update on the climates to see if we can get to something close to where we are right now. Unfortunately, this trade we just literally wicked us out. Um, we probably would have been stopped out most likely here somewhere. But again, that would have been quite the difference move from 465 to the 380s. That's almost 100 points on the Nasdaq, right? We'd have a little happy dance going on because that kind of trade probably makes your week. Sometimes with enough size, that'll make your month. Could even make your year, right? 100-point move on an index, it's no joke. Okay. All right. Just so we don't go without saying anything, I'd just like to show the tradewithufos.com/Boyan. That's the link right here that you see on the screen. If you do go on there, you'll see that there's quite a few things that are available to you. Just going to open it up and show it to you while we wait for this climate to update. Okay, so this is what it looks like. The tradewithufos.com/Boyan. So as you see, we do have the trading apps available. You can go through TradingView, MetaTrader. I'm not sure these should be coming down, but they're not. They are available. You can do a one-on-one coaching setup. You can also go in and ask any questions, of course. And as you see, other people that are asking questions, there's answers to some of those questions. Some of them have multiple answers. Some of them looks like are just notes and requests. So definitely check that out and set it up. So this might be due to a cache issue on my browser here. So let's not read too much into it. Okay, so here we go. We do have an update on the climates. Gold 19075. 19074, so it's missing this UFO for sure. Okay, the Russell still shooting lower. Moving average at 35. If this were to lift up, would it go through this? So these two UFOs would overlap, so you could do an entry right here at 33.5 with an entry over here at 35.5 and put the stop at above here at 38 at 39, I'm sorry, at 39, and that would catch both of these. So I would doubt that this is going to work given the movement that's going on right now, but you know what, just in case it does, 33.6 being the entry point. So let's do a one leg here, 33.6. 33.6. And as I said, we're going to, let's enable chart trading here so we can just drag and drop it. We're going to move this to 39. right there. Okay, 39 minus 33.6. We're looking at 5.4 minus 33.6. That's that 28.2 would be our T1 for this leg. This one we're just going to leave down below. I don't know if, oh, we do have a UFO there. So wait a minute. Okay, so UFO is at 19.8. So 19.8. Okay, so this trade is there. Now, just in case, you could also, since we have an overlap of a UFO here, you can also go in at 35.5. And of course, this trade is only going to be valid for the next like 15 minutes, mainly because, so 39 is the stop. Now, 39 minus 35.5 is 3.5 points. So that means at 32, we can take our T1 off at 32 for a break even on the upper leg. And then the final one we can keep. Oh crap, no, it's not the one. Let's replace with quantity. So cancel one buy limit. And this one we're going to replace with quantity 2. There we go. All right, so that's kind of what that would look like if you're kind of wedging yourself. Okay, so we are seeing a nice pullback up. So I'm going to take a screenshot of this since this may actually fill 2022-04-26 RTY setup. There it is. It did fill first leg in. All right. Now, again, this one is not where the actual T1 is, right? This is from the upper leg. So we're going to see right now we got in it. So let's see if we can get the other leg filled, and then perhaps down we go. Something worth noting, we are on the fifth 15-minute increment out of typically 8, so we're definitely not early or late in this party. It's kind of right on the money. Oh, I'm sorry, I just realized you're probably looking at this here. Okay, very nice push to our T1. So if we get this T1, I'm already going to cancel this upper leg because the whole point of it is to, all right, T1 out. Okay, cancel this one. All right, now we're trailing and we already have a UFO right at our entry at 34.10. Definitely a profitable trade. So, this, if it turned around, let's say there's some amazing news or something that came out or somebody posted earnings that are being construed as positive. There we go. Another UFO. Which one's lower? 29.8. Both of them are 29.8. Boom. Okay. Another UFO down there at 27.10. So 27.2. Oh, there it is. Out. I don't even know what that was. I don't think it was a minute. It was probably, or maybe it was a minute. We'll see. 2022-04-26 RTY exit. Okay, 4 digits for the day. So let's see. This setup we took. When did we take? It was on the same candle, within the same 2-minute candle, right? Yeah. Nope. Actually, it wasn't. So this was the entry candle. This was the exit candle. But looking at them right now, I just want to see like what are we talking about here. It's if we go to the account order, we're gonna see that this was probably on the inside of 2 minutes, not even, probably a minute and a half, if not less. So, not bad, not a bad day altogether. We took that with almost no adverse price action, which is kind of crazy. They happen, not always, but they happen. Um, Now, see, this is right here. Point in fact, if you took gold on the initial time when we looked at it, you may have made some money. You may have lost a little bit of money. I'm not sure. It could have been either way, depending on what your candle of fill was. But just looking at this stuff right now, it's very sideways, and I'm glad we took some money off the market. If you did with me, great. Let me know on the link that I shared with you. Other than that, we probably won't see any opportunities before this session ends. But then again, that's what I said for the Russell, and then it just ended up climbing right to our entry and straight to T1. So, as you see, I can be proven wrong. And I am very often proven wrong. Okay, this one, we can leave that one alone. That one's been running for who knows how long. Just wanted to see where's my guy. I almost never look at this stuff because I have a software that does it for me. But if we look at the, was it the trade manager? Yeah, so here we go. So we sold the Russell at 649.10, and we were out at 650.16. So exactly 1 minute, which is kind of crazy. So 649.10 to 650.16, minute and 6 seconds. Pretty cool stuff. All right, folks, that's that for today's session. Hope you found it helpful and enjoyable. I will catch you next time. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Take care.